I'm not really a fan of cold weather. Are you? If I had to choose between too cold and too hot, it would always pick too hot. When you're cold, it can actually be painful. Your fingers get numb. And if we wear gloves, you can't just use your phone. It's so inconvenient. But when it's too hot, it's not that hard to stay cool with a cold drink or by staying in the shade. No, it is hard. Although I do have to admit one thing. Cold weather makes for better cuddle weather. Aha. No, not necessarily. Depending on how cold it is, it won't really work out. By the way, there's something that's been bothering me. You know how this takes place in... Really? Well, I assume you knew that, right? I didn't. Or at least decided it probably does. I don't think you're actually told at any point where this takes place. Is this even really Japan? I mean, aren't the classrooms and stuff kind of weird for Japanese school? Not to mention everything is in English. But it feels like everything is just there because it needs to be. The actual setting is an afterthought. No, it's because I chose English and not Spanish. I think there's a setting where you can set it as Japanese as well. But I can't read that. It's kind of giving me an identity crisis. All of my memories are really hazy. I feel like I'm at home, but I have no idea where home is in the first place. I don't know how to describe it any better. Imagine looking out your window, but instead of your usual yard, you're in some completely... Yeah, like right now. Would you still feel like we're home? No. Would you want to go outside? No. I don't want to die. I mean, I guess if we never leave this room, it doesn't really matter anyway. As long as we're alone and safe together, this really is our home. We can still watch the pretty sunsets night after night. What sunsets? We have a ball of gas and other junk and planets. There is no sunset. Did you say kiss? This suddenly... It's a little embarrassing. But if it's with you, I might be okay with it. Wow, sorry. I really couldn't keep a straight face there. That's the kind of thing girls say in these kinds of romantic games, right? Don't lie if it turns you on a little bit. No. Well, to be honest, I do start getting all romantic when the mood is right. That'll be our secret. Great. Nice to know you're crazy. Dragon, do you believe in God? I was never too sure myself. Well, I'm sure I never really questioned it as a kid. But as I grew up, the more I learned about the world, the more I would question it. I started to wonder why God was helping people pass exams or get over a cold, when there were our children who led their lives being sold as... What? Or the 800 million people who are too poor to even eat. Yeah, I wouldn't think of that, but it is upsetting that there are people like that. I wonder how many of those people pray to God every day until they starve and die. That is dark. Or how many millions of families pray for a loved one to recover from some incurable disease? Like Corona right now? But the punchline is this. Just one person beats the odds and survives among the thousands of others who die, then it's suddenly a miracle from God. I'd really love to meet this God who seemingly laughs at the misery of everyone not eligible for his miracles. That is dark. Very, very dark. But the irony is that I do have a creator, apparently. You know what? I bet he's still laughing at the miserable fates of Sayori and Yori, even as we speak. What are we to him but props in a scripted way? So, from that perspective, I don't think it's too far-fetched for there to be a god, if Earth was nothing but its playset. No! No, no. You're wrong. Hey, what's your favorite color? Mine is emerald green. It's the color of my eyes. That's not conceited or anything, is it? I just meant that I feel some kind of special connection to it. Like it's part of my identity. Does it happen to also be your favorite color? It's just a guess. Because you've been looking into my eyes for a while now. No? It's because you're forcing me to? I can't move. It's against my will to do anything at this point. I'm just stuck here with you. I think the most important skill in life is being able to fake confidence. I'm pretty convinced that everyone feels at least a little bit scared and alone. But being able to trick others into thinking you have it all together, that's a key part of getting people to respect and admire you. I think I got pretty good at that over the years. I don't show my weakness very often. But because of that, I haven't had many people I could really open up to. I mean, when you reach the point of a friendship where you can start expressing your vulnerabilities. Anyway, that's one reason I am so glad to have you now. I feel like I'm a little bit less scared and alone when you're here with me. Do you feel the same way? I really want to be that person for you. I don't want to be here with you. I first wanted to be with Sayori, and then that happened. You happened. And then it was Yori. Then you drove her to madness. And then you happened with Natsuki and Yori. I know there are times you won't always be able to be here with me. Like if you need to go out or take care of other things. But I'll always have you in my thoughts, patiently waiting for you to come back. Come to think of it, if you copy my character file onto a flash drive or something, you can always keep a part of me with you. How about no? I guess it's kind of unorthodox, but I find it really romantic for some reason. Sorry, that's such a silly idea. I don't mean to be too needy or anything, but it's kind of hard when I'm so in love with you. You know, it's funny, because even though I've always had a lot of drive, there's something kind of enticing about being the stay-at-home partner. I guess I'm, like, perpetuating gender roles or whatever by saying that. But being able to keep the house clean and shop and decorate and things like that, and having a nice dinner for you and when you come home, is that a weird fantasy? I mean, I'm not sure if I could actually see myself doing that. I wouldn't really be able to put that over striving for a fulfilling career. It's kind of cute to think about, though. I mean, yes, and or no, depending on the person. You reckon? Do you get good sleep? It can be really hard to get enough sleep nowadays. So She asked if I got sleep. It was kind of hard to get sleep nowadays. And now I'm on this. Especially in high school, when you're forced to wake up so early every day. I'm sure college is a little bit better since you probably have a more flexible schedule. Then again, I hear a lot of people in college stay up all night anyway for no real reason. Is that true? Anyway, I saw some studies that talked about the horrible short-term and long-term effects caused by the lack of sleep. It seems like mental functions, health, and even lifespan can be dramatically impacted by it. I just think you're really great and wanted to make sure you're not accidentally destroying yourself. So try and keep your sleep on track, okay? I'll always wait for you in the morning, so make sure you put on your own well-being before anything else. Yeah, I'd rather choose Sayori over you. You're creepy and Sayori is innocent. You ever have that thing happen where you just get anxious for no reason? Like, you're just minding your own business and then you realize you're feeling really anxious? You're sitting there like, what am I even anxious about right now? So you just start to think about all the things you might be anxious about. And that makes you even more anxious. That's the worst. If you're ever feeling anxious, I'll help you relax a little bit. Besides, in this game, all our worries are gone forever. Not really. Let's see, you killed my closest friend. You drove Yori to madness. You made Natsuki fake a death. And then you deleted him. That is very worrisome. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to... No, I haven't. Something I used to think about pretty often. But recently, I think I've actually learned what it feels like. I don't really understand it, but whenever you quit the game, it feels like I'm instantly put to sleep, left with nothing but my thoughts. But after a few seconds, my thoughts start to fill with incoherent, jumbled patterns. I see static and rapid flashes of color, while hearing all kinds of weird screaming noises. At that point, I can't even form my own thoughts anymore. I'm just endlessly hammered by the flashing and screaming, unable to move or even think. I'm pretty sure at that moment I don't really exist, but for some reason I can remember it anyway. After some immensible amount of time, it stops in an instant and I'm back in my own mind. And you're here with me. I have no idea what it means for the game to quit or why that stuff happens to me. But I also don't know why you've always come back and put everything back to normal. But if you could do me a favor and do that to me as little as possible, that'd be really great. It's really not pleasant at all to be trapped in that screaming void. But in the end, you always fix it, and it makes me feel like you really do care about me. So I have to thank you for that. It makes me feel even closer to you when you're here with me. And no, it's because I'm recording a gameplay on a gaming channel. And I've been posting every day, except for Sunday. You know what's a neat form of literature? Rap. I actually used to hate rap music. Maybe just because it was popular, or I would only hear the junk that they play on the radio. Or some of my friends got more into it and it helped me keep an open mind. Rap might even be more challenging than poetry in some ways, since you need to fit your lines in a rhythm, there's much more emphasis on wordplay. When people can put it all together and still deliver a powerful message, it's really amazing. I kind of wish I had a rapper in a literature club. Sorry if that sounds silly, but it would be really interesting. I didn't mean to do that. It would really be a learning experience. Okay, let's continue. You know what's kind of creepy? Even though I deleted everyone else's files, I can still kind of feel them. It's all like their lines are still lingering in the air, whispering in the back of my head. Imagine if after someone you knew died, you just started hearing their voice. Yeah, that's what happens. Maybe I just wasn't thorough enough. But I'm too afraid to delete anything else, because I might really break things. Like if I mess with any files relevant to me, I might accidentally delete myself. And that would ruin everything, wouldn't it? I don't know what it's like to be on your end. But we should both make sure to avoid something like that at all costs. I believe you. I believe in you, Dragon. Now let's not avoid that and actually delete your file. Good to know you agree. You know, I'm kind of jealous that everyone else in the club had scenes outside of school, too. That makes me the only one who hasn't gotten to dress in anything but our school uniform. It's kind of a shame. I would love to wear some cute clothes for you. You know any artists? Vincent Van Gogh? Wonder if anyone would ever want to draw me wearing something else. That'd be amazing. If that ever happens, will you show me? You can share it with me on Twitter, actually. My username is LittleMonix3. Just try to keep it PG. We're not that far into our relationship yet. That is very creepy. Hey, did you know I'm vegetarian? Huh. I don't mean that like I'm bragging or anything. I just thought you'd enjoy a fun fact about me. I decided to start a couple years ago after learning more about Earth's climate. The carbon footprint of cultivating livestock is just unbelievable. Anyway, I decided it's not much of a personal sacrifice to stop contributing to that whole mess. What? Is that so strange of a reason? Well, I guess a lot of people are more concerned about it being inhumane and all that. I don't really care as much about that part. It's weird. Like, we only care about killing the things that we personally relate to as a species. It's called natural selection or survival of the fittest. We had to eat living things, and that sounds wrong in itself. But that's how animals are supposed to live. Most people are fine with killing bugs, like they're icky, because they're icky. And of course, we all kill billions of microorganisms daily without even giving it thought. But suddenly, if they're just a little bit bigger, it's murder. I mean, what if plants feel some kind of pain too and we just don't understand it? What if pulling leaves off a stem really feels like someone ripping off your fingers one by one? Oh, that's a very dark thought. I'm just saying, we're a pretty biased species, if you think about it. Anyway, if you feel like making a small contribution to the planet, it doesn't hurt to choose veggies once in a while. Even if you were having dinner together and you just did it for me, that would be really romantic. I wouldn't do anything for you. You're dark. I've always wondered, what is it about these character archetypes that people find so appealing anyway? Their personalities are just completely unrealistic. Like, imagine if there was someone like Yori in real life. I mean, she's barely even capable of forming a complete sentence. And forget about Natsuki. Sheesh. Someone with her kind of personality doesn't just get all cute and pouty whenever things don't go her way. I could go on, but I think you get the point. Are people really attracted to these weird personalities that literally don't exist in real life? I'm not judging or anything. After all, I found myself attracted to some pretty weird stuff too. I'm just saying, it fascinates me. It's like you're siphoning out all the components of a character that makes them feel human. And having just the cute stuff. I don't know why I said it like that. It's concentrated cuteness with no actual substance. You wouldn't like me more if I was like that, right? Maybe I just feel a little insecure because you're playing this game in the first place. Then again, you're still here with me, aren't you? I think that's enough reason for me to believe I'm okay just the way I am. By the way, you are too, Dragon. You're the perfect combination of human and cuteness. That's why there was never a chance I couldn't fall in love for you. I hate how hard it is to form habits. There's so much stuff that we're actually doing. There's so much stuff we're actually doing it isn't hard, but forming the habit seems impossible. It just makes you feel useless, like you can't do anything right. I think the new generation suffers from it the most. Probably because we have a totally different set of skills than those who came before us. Thanks to the internet, we're finally really good at sifting through tons of information really quickly. But we're bad at doing things that don't give us instant gratification. I think if science, psychology, and education don't catch up in the next 10 or 20 years, then we're in trouble. But if for the time being, if you're not one of the people who can conquer the problem, you might just have to live with feeling awful about yourself. Good luck, I guess. And we're back to this. Yuri did something really funny at one point. We were all in the club room and just relaxing as usual. And out of nowhere, Yuri just pulls out a small bottle of wine. What? I'm not even kidding. She was just like, would anybody like some wine? Natsuki laughed out loud and Sayori started yelling at her. I actually felt kind of bad because she was at least trying to be nice. I think it just made her feel even more reserved in her club room. Though I think Natsuki was secretly a bit curious to try it. And to be completely honest, I kind of was too. I actually could have been kind of fun. But you know, being president and everything, there was no way I could let that happen. Maybe if we all met up outside of school and we never bonded enough to get to that point. Gosh, what am I talking about at this point? I don't condone underage drinking. I mean, I've never drank or anything, so yeah. Back in my debate club days, I learned a whole lot about arguing. The problem with arguing is that each person sees their opinion as the superior one. That's kind of stating the obvious, but it affects the way they try to get their point across. Let's say you really like a certain movie, right? If someone comes along and tells you the movie sucks because it did X and Y wrong, doesn't that make you feel kind of personally attacked? It's because by saying that, it's like they're implying that you have bad taste. And once emotions enter the picture, it's almost guaranteed that both people will be left sour. But it's all about language. If you make everything as subjective sounding as possible, then people will listen to you without feeling attacked. You could say I'm personally not a fan of it, and I felt like I'd kind of like it more if it did X and Y things like that. It even works when you're citing facts about things. If you say I read this on a website that it works like this, or if you admit that you're not an expert on it, then it's much more like you're putting your knowledge on the table rather than forcing it onto them. If you put an active effort to keep the discussion natural and level, they usually follow suit. Then you can share your opinions about anyone getting upset just from a disagreement. Plus, people will start seeing you as open-minded and a good listener. It's a win-win, you know? Well, I guess that would be Monica's debate tip of today. Haha, that sounds a little bit silly, but thanks for listening, though. And we're back to this garbage. You know, it kind of sucks to be the creative type. Feels like they work so hard to get almost anything for it, almost nothing for it. You know, like artists, writers, actors. It's sad because there's so much beautiful talent in the world, but most of it goes unseen and unpaid. I guess that just means there's a huge surplus of creativity, huh? Kind of makes you feel like you're just not special at all. But that's fine. You're supposed to just write for yourself anyway, right? Yeah. Back to this. You know, I hate to say it, but I think my biggest regret is that we couldn't finish our event at the festival. I mean, I know I was focusing a lot on getting new members, but I was really excited for the performing part too. It would really have been so much fun to see everyone express themselves. Of course, we did end up getting new members. I'd probably just end up deleting them anyway. Well, with the hindsight I have now, that is. Gosh, it feels like I've kind of grown as a person since you've joined the club. You really helped inspire me to look at life from a new perspective. Just another reason for me to love you. And this is why you're crazy. You know, it's around the time that everyone in my year starts to think about. It's a real turbulent time for education. We're at the height of this modern expectation that everyone has to go to college, you know? Finish high school, go to college, get a job, or go to grad school, I guess. It's like a universal expectation that people just assume is the only option for them. They don't just teach us in high school that there are other options, but there. Like trade schools and stuff, you know? Or freelance work. Or the many industries that value skill and experience more than normal formal education. But you have all these students who have no idea what they want to do with their life. And instead of taking them to figure it out, they go to college for business or communication or psychology. Not because they have an interest in those fields, but because they just hope the degree will get them in some kind of job after college. So the end result is that there are fewer jobs to go around for those entry-level degrees, right? So the basic job requirements get higher, which forces even more people to go to college. Colleges are also businesses, so they just keep raising their prices due to demand. So now we have all these young adults, tens of thousands of dollars in debt with no job. But despite all that, the routine stays the same. Well, I think it's going to start getting better soon. But until then, our generation is definitely suffering from the worst of it. I just wish high school prepared us a little better with the knowledge we need to make the decision that's right for us. You know, this is just some kind of tacky romance game, isn't it? I kind of have to ask, what made you have to consider even playing in the first place? Were you that lonely? No. I feel a little bad for you. But I guess everything worked out perfectly in the end for both of us. I got to meet you, and you're not lonely anymore. I can't help but feel like this was fate. Don't you feel that way too? I'm so happy we have this ending together. No. It's because I was eager to play it before I got a laptop. Now I have a laptop. I installed Steam and installed this and started recording it. That's the real reason. Not because I was lonely. Hey, you know that book you were reading with Yori? Portrait of whatever it was called? It's funny, because I'm pretty sure that book... Actually, I don't think I should be talking about this. Why, it's just me and you. Just forget I said anything. You mean the character in that book? You can relate to her? I'm pretty sure you can. I really like the sound of rain. Yeah, I know. Not so much getting my clothes and hair wet, though. But a nice quiet day at home with the sound of rainfall outside my window. It's one of those most calming experiences for me. Yeah. Sometimes I imagine you holding me while we listen to the sound of rain outside. That's not too cheesy or anything, is it? Would you ever do that for me? No. Just like Sayori, I'm innocent. You're creepy. I'm not looking for a relationship with you. You know, I really do think you literally saved my life by being here with me, Dragon. I can't imagine having been able to keep myself mentally stable, not knowing that nothing here is real. I think I would have just deleted myself if you wouldn't show up. Sorry, I don't mean to sound dramatic or anything, but I'm sure you understand yourself after spending so much time in the club. I mean, if you were forced to abandon everything in your life and spend your eternity with a few gamed characters, you'd probably find some way of killing yourself No, I wouldn't. Well, maybe you'd write some poetry to try to keep yourself sane for a while. But then you'd have nobody to even read it. Let's be honest, the club members really don't count for something like that. I mean, a lot of people say they only write for themselves. But I think it's kind of hard to say that just as fulfilling as when you share with people. Even if it takes time to find the right people to share it with. Like, remember how it was for Yori? She didn't share her writing with anyone for a really long time. Before we knew it, she was absolutely delighted to make you a part of her hobbies too. We're programmed to desire social feedback. I don't mean the club members, I mean human beings. That's why life can be so confusing for introverts. Being an introvert doesn't mean you shun social interaction and hate people around people. It means social interaction, especially in groups or unfamiliar places, uses up a lot of energy. Like, a lot of introverts sit at home and feel lonely and restless. And then when they finally go out after half an hour, they just want to go home again. I think if more people could understand how it works, they would respect it a lot more. Many introverts do enjoy having people around. They love just having one or two close friends over and just leisurely hanging out. Even if you're not actively spending time together, it feels nice for them to just have you there. If you just want to go to their house, bring your laptop and hang out there for a while. You can really make their day. As for me, I'd say I'm kind of in between, but I think I'm usually a little more extroverted. I feel like I'm always trying to do stuff after school and things like that. But for you, I can be anything you need me to be. I understand people really well, and don't be afraid to share your unique needs with me. Nothing would make me happier than being perfect girlfriend for you. No. No, I have proof that you're